Non-fungible idiots, don't you know? Banging our heads to the rhythm of the code. We don't care about dollars or the shiny blade. We're just holding to zero. It's our everything. Round tripping positions, that's how we roll. We won't make $1, won't sell a thing. We're the zero holders, our anthem we sing. Zero holders, our anthem we sing. Zero holders, we're the kings of the sea. The non-fungible idiots, we live in the dream. We're all on the zero, it's our way to be. In the world of NFTs, we're wild and free.
What up, boys?
Yo.
Yeah. That gets me in the zone.
I'm singing this stupid song now. Like if I'm at the sink doing dishes, it's in my head. I'm mouthing the words. You made a hit, man. You really
literally that good. It's literally that good. Good morning, guys. Great to fucking see ya. Who else is here? Biggie, great to see you, man. Henry, great to see you. Choina, yes, fucking yes, brother. Happy weekend to you, man. How you doing? Dude, I saw my I was looking on MetaMask on the portfolio tab, and you know, it's showing you your balances on chains and, you know, wallets you don't check, you know what I mean? Because it shows you all at once, basically. And I see my ghost bag looking pretty decent, my FUD, my CAC, all that stuff. Like my balance, like my total portfolio balance is up significantly just because of that stuff. So
nice. That was
cool as hell to see. Man, are you guys gonna be surprised to hear we're gonna be talking a lot about Bitcoin today?
Oh, dude,
anyone shocked?
You don't fucking say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who we shit talking?
Wait, what's that?
Are we shit talking somebody within
I don't
Bitcoin?
think so.
No,
I think good.
We'll find somebody.
It's good stuff. Well, I was thinking about it because I'm like, I'm doing my normal prep, and I'm going through like a whole bunch of my past videos and making some edits. I made some little edits to yesterday's video when I doxed people. I got to tell you, okay, I didn't think anything of that at first, and I still don't. But I was sleeping last night, and I got woken up by my daughter screaming. She screams like she's like a maniac, and I always think she's hurt. But she screams. She's like, "Jacob, what did you do?" And I literally thought someone got hurt. And then my mind's racing as far as what other things could happen, because then I heard them laughing. Okay, and then for whatever reason, I couldn't get out of my head that, like, someone sent her a dick pic, because one of those phone numbers was hers. Like, I just got in my head that again, just woke up, and like you're kind of like in this fog.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that sounds horrifying.
I thought, like, because at first I was like, oh, was one of his friends fucking with her? Like, did something with their phone numbers? Because, like, I don't know why I was even thinking that, but did his friend text her something that was, like, just stupid? And then my mind jumped to her phone number was on that thing. Did somebody send her something fucking awful? Anyway, This morning I got up. I tried last night to edit it. The video is still processing. I took it down, and this morning I edited it. Anyway, that part's cut out. I will say, I rewatched yesterday's episode, a good chunk of it, and live I struggled. Like I said, I struggled with, like, our technical issues. Rewatched it. It was fucking awesome. It was such a good time. Like, it was so much fun to rewatch. I don't know if that's weird, like, enjoying your own content, but it's like you guys. I enjoy hearing you guys talk, and I enjoy hearing everybody, like, just being loose and having fun with each other. It's something infectious about it. So anyway, just wanted to say I thought yesterday turned out actually pretty great. Thanks to you guys.
I think you're always a little, we always have like a little show debrief after the show. I always feel like you guys are like super critical. You're not crazy critical, but and I think that's how you get better is like, you think of like, what could you do differently? But my point to that is I always feel like the show's good. Like I listen, I think, more than I talk, but I always feel like the show's good, man. So yeah. Tech issues, like, who cares?
They happen.
We'll look back on them, and these are going to be the best episodes to look back on. I think that's the thing. It's like early days, and so you're still like finding your groove, as they say. I don't know. I always like to go back and see those things. I don't know, like if you do that, Huda, with like your favorite YouTubers, like go all the way back
Go
to
watch
like
their original
first
stuff.
videos, and you just see like how they start ramping up or bringing in new different elements into the show. It's cool, man. I'm happy to be here in this journey with you all. Thank you for having me,
dude. Fucking likewise. All right, I'm just getting a tweet out, and then we're gonna get right into the market, which it is kind of interesting out there. I will say though, like, I've done some thinking about why do we keep hitting on Bitcoin? And it's like, well, okay, of course, because it's the hot topic, right? But it's more than that,
and it's the big papa. Always has been.
It's
with
a lot
or
to do
without
with that.
runes or article or ordinals, like you've always talked about Bitcoin. It has to, it's the leader. It's
what's relevant right now.
Really.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there to talk about right now? It's where all the exciting shit's happening.
I'll tell you, there's even more. There's more to it. Henry, you're gonna feel it too. It's gonna resonate with you.
I like that. Well, you're sending that tweet out. It's funny because when you're talking about your daughter screaming and not being sure what happened, it's like you can't ever underestimate how awful people can be on the internet, and what kind of psychos are out there on the internet. So it's funny because Joe had brought up about editing that video, and I'm pretty sure I spotted my phone number on there, and I was just picturing in my mind like, oh man, like some person's going to be able to find that and then reverse search it somehow, or it's got a buddy that works at a cell phone company and is going to get my address. I already wish I wasn't doxxed. I'm not going to lie. Yep. If I could go back and do it all over again, I don't think that I would dox, because there's behind the scenes, like one day when the book's written, there's crazy shit that happens behind it. I mean, crazy shit that you wouldn't even think is going on behind the scenes, that goes on behind the scenes with death threats and like legit scary shit. It's weird. So yeah, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't.
I'm right there with you. It's why I still say this scary statement, but I still will always stand by it. We need like a reputation score, like an anonymous social reputation number here on the blockchain, especially. Over time, that would just be such a beautiful thing to be able to be anonymous, have your reputation there at a glance. And there are products that kind of do that. I remember years ago, there was basically like currencies you could stake to people. You kind of do that on like super rare too. Like people can stake rare with certain artists. There's something to that, and that is an idea. I honestly see that playing out exactly that way in the long run. But I wish that were here now, and I wish it were here when we started. Because I'm like you, I wish we could be anonymous. Even better, like as this AI tech keeps getting better and better and better, you could be anonymous, but have a whole person that still represents you in a way maybe a JPEG still can't. And I think will eventually. But yeah, man, tech is going to let us get there where you can be anonymous and never have to be public, but still be completely yourself. If not like your most authentic version, you could really be you. I think when it's not actually your face that's out there. I think.
Hey, I realize we're going to talk Bitcoin today, but there's a lot going on in the world too. I feel like it'd be fun on a Saturday to get into some spicy world events.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very spicy. Very, very, very spicy, man. It's if you're talking about the Middle East thing going on, Lord, dude. It's this last one, it's like, are you really trying to start World War III here? Each one feels like please, no. Like no one in the world wants that.
Let me say something though, because to me the craziest shit. Okay, let's get into this for like a quick second, because I still want to get back to like why I'm talking Bitcoin so much. How many times, like I remember 5-10 years ago, let's say like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, the narrative is always, we got to stop Iran. They're going to have nukes in a month. They're going to have 5 nukes in a year. They're going to have, like they always say that. They always say there's a certain date and they're going to have nukes by this date. And I keep hearing that over and over and over. So I heard it again last night. Iran's going to have 3 nukes within a month. How many fucking times have we heard this? And now, like, I don't believe it anymore. Either they already got them, or, you know what I mean? Like, I know we do stuff to, like, set them back, but it's just crazy. Like, I'm so tired of hearing the same stuff that is, like, driving us to war. And it's like, is any of it actually true? Like,
And do you even need nukes to fucking throw the world into a tailspin, you know, and to fucking ruin it for generations to come and like set us back like decades? Nobody wants this. To me, what baffles me is that like it's a handful of people on all these different countries that are making these decisions on behalf of everybody else.
Yep.
In spite of the fact that nobody fucking wants war.
How much of this, Biggie, feels like this is a bunch of guys getting to the end of their life that have felt like they have to do this before they go? Because that's been the conversation about Putin. Again, I don't fucking know. I just know that was the narrative being pushed out there. Like, he's getting older. He's trying to do this before he's gone. But how doesn't that apply to like people in any of these countries? Like, it very much feels like these people who think is like their life mission. You know, before they go, they need to set things right. It feels fucking weird out there.
I think zealots are part of the conversation. I don't think that like they're that high level. I think at the highest level, it's business. It's the military-industrial contract. Yeah. Like, it's in their best interest to continue to have theaters of war where they can profit from, where they can sell their dumb shit to. Like, that's all it is. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like, it's just business, and it's disgusting. Yeah.
Oh, and then you factor BRICS in. There's a whole lot of interesting things, you know, that help orchestrate behind the scenes. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of propaganda, and yeah, it always seems like posturing, and you know, the media pushes a narrative, and you don't know, is it true, is it not true? But at the end of the day, it just seems like the past, you know, you could certainly say since October 7th, that like pieces are being, it's a chess game, right? And that things have been carefully calculated. I don't think Iran's stupid by any means. And I think that they're playing their cards. I think they would have a nuke by now. I mean, they're tight with Russia. They've got support from North Korea, of course. And so, yeah, they've got to have a nuke, man. They're not cavemen.
Right.
Like, they're not cavemen, man. So
they try to make it look like that.
Yeah, I think there was a drone that they had shot down, you know, let's say recently, within a handful of years, if not months, that they reverse engineered within a really, really short amount of time. So hard to picture with technology being where it is now that they don't have one. Yep. Anyway.
Yeah. I want to actually get more into that too. Like all of that. I want to stay on that topic. We'll come back to that towards the end. Okay. Yeah. So the reason I'm talking so much about Bitcoin and ordinals and runes, okay, it's a conviction thing. And it's not a normal conviction thing. Like every couple of years, I feel something that is different from what I feel, you know, most of the time in NFTs. That's different from most of what I feel usually in crypto. It's something that sticks with me. It's something that I sense and smell something different in it. And Henry, this is very much like back in the day with Punk's comic. Like there's just some things I can't let go, and more than that, it's that I don't want people to miss. It's all these things combined. It's the same with CyberKongs. Felt something different, knew there was something different, talked a lot about it, but then after it played out exactly how I thought it would, I always come back to the like, fuck, why didn't people listen, or what didn't I say right, or why did I not mention it enough? Like, you know that thought, Henry, like when you were bringing Ronan to the group. That guy's Ronan's pretty interesting, guys. Like we were talking about buying something or Ronan, and I don't think anybody bid on the Ronan thing. But you had conviction in it.
Yeah. 50 cents, I think it was at the time.
Yeah. And what is it, 3 or 4 now?
Yeah, right around there.
So very similar thing, and I could almost say I almost have even a stronger sense and a stronger belief in what is actually coming. As bullish as you hear me talk about ordinals and runes, and I said this yesterday, by myself, like in my head, the way I think about it is even bigger. I think it is going to be that big, that much of a game changer, and things I've said before, I think absolutely changes the entire NFT landscape. That's why I talk about it a lot. I want, if one more person spends a little more time learning about it, being engaged with it, that's why. Because I do think this is one of those once in every few year type opportunity. Not everything. Like you got to be super careful with it. And Biggie's like always our great voice of reason here with it. He is. You are, Biggie. You help keep things in check because you got to be smart. You have to be wise. And at the same time, there's something happening here that's pretty unique and it's pretty special, and nobody denies that. I mean, something brand new is about to hit Bitcoin, and this is why we talk about it. Lima, good morning, bro.
Lima? On. I wonder, is Lima from Lima, Peru?
Lima is from Lima, Peru.
Pretty fucking cool.
Fuck yeah.
Right?
Nice, hermano. Hell yeah. I love that country.
He's that guy is Lima's a goat, bro.
He's
Lima es gris como la panza de un burro. Gray like the belly of a donkey. Because it's usually like kind of gray.
Is that a compliment?
It is. It's it's such a beautiful city, man. Like it reminds me a lot of like the coast of California. Like it's got some very beautiful like I don't know, like oceanscapes, with like the big like long cliffs, and then the seafood is just fucking phenomenal.
I since Lima is here, I have to make a public apology because I like completely ghosted him, and he's such an awesome guy. Not intentionally, Lima. It's been a if you follow the Kong's announcements this week, it's been a crazy week, and I can't interact because I'm on mobile. So if he's chatting anything, I can't write back. But he's a legend. It's not a purposeful ghost. I will get back to you, sir. No, he's a guy like I don't want to ghost him because he's like the kindest dude to Kongs. And we got shit cooking with him. So excited to have him on board with CK.
Henry, what'd you say at the end there? Something. What was the last thing you said about Lima?
He's a goat, and I ghosted him, but I will get back to him, and we got shit cooking with him.
Got it. Dude, I want to dive into his kind ecosystem. It's just cool because it does something up. But, anyone who doesn't know, I actually finally got out my little tweet thread. How many times I wrote that and deleted it, and finally I'm like, just whatever it is, send it, because, it's the sentiment that matters. And Lima's the guy who sent me my baby Kong, my old baby Kong.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Lima. Yeah,
nice,
so yeah, it's
nice.
I'm still beaming over that, dude. It's just the coolest story. You're the coolest guy for even considering that, for just doing it. It just happened. You just did it. There was nothing else behind it. I don't know, dude. Really, really fucking cool of you. And again, the smile, like the smile on my daughter's face when I told her the story that happened, and for her it was like the plushie made that happen in a way or something. Like she thought that was so cool. So, again, thank you, Lima, dude. That's you're awesome. You are an awesome dude. There's Lima, Peru, by the way. It is beautiful.
Yeah, you're making me want to go.
Just for clarification, Biggie, did you say great? Like the belly of a donkey, or gray? Like
no, so there's like a famous saying, and it's like Lima la gris como la panza de un burro, and it's like I guess it's pretty cloudy over there, and so they call it like Lima the Gray because it's like the belly of a donkey. So I don't know if he was familiar with that saying, how well known the saying is. When we were there, we had a couple of friends mention it, and so whenever people say Lima, I remember that refrain. But I mean, it's just a gorgeous city. I highly recommend. Like, obviously, if people can go and visit it, it's one of those cultural power centers on this continent, on the Americas. Like obviously Machu Picchu's and Cusco are some of the big draws, but you'll probably land in Lima first, unless you go straight to Cusco. And I think it's worth it. Not just because it's a wonderful city, but like if you're into food. You're into seafood, it's one of the top places to eat seafood in the world, in my opinion. Like right up there with Japan, right up there with like Spain and Portugal, and like those places. New England. I'm a big seafood fanatic, as you can tell.
Dude,
I love
got me
seafood.
Craving seafood at 7 a.m.
Dude, I would too, man. Give me a nice ceviche. Yeah.
I'm gonna go down and visit him soon.
No shit, for real.
Oh yeah, for real. No, absolutely. Gonna go down and do some stuff at Lima.
Nice.
No doubt.
Damn, that's awesome. All right, now we'll finally get into NFT stuff, and I'm just gonna point out. Dude, crazy. But yeah, you know what? So transactions, you guys, if you were trading over on Bitcoin, you knew that mempool was getting kind of clogged, getting kind of busy. Fees were getting kind of expensive. So the Bitcoin halving actually was looking like it wasn't going to be on 420. It was going to be on 419. until this happened the past. Yeah, exactly, Biggie. Wreck everybody's plans. But at this point, it seems like I think people are still projecting higher fees, but there's a very good chance it still will happen on 420. So we'll see. You know what? Buy a whole bunch of BRC20s and Ordinals, guys.
Spam the network.
Yeah. Do your job, guys. Spam this shit and let's push it back. And we don't need to push it back far, like 3 hours or something. So.
Oh, does that not make it come quicker though?
If you clog it up. Like if you clog it up where it takes forever for shit to go through, because it has to reach a certain block. So,
I assume the more data, the faster the blocks come. But I follow.
Yep. All right. Wasn't expecting this morning, I guess, but I probably should have. The Forecast 500, which is measuring the value of the NFT market, down about 2.5% here in the past 24 hours. Again, wasn't expecting it, but it does make sense because yesterday during our live show, we look at the crypto, we see Bitcoin's fallen 5%. The market in general, pretty down. The crypto market, I should say. What's funny, wow, ETH down over 6%. Okay, what's funny, I feel like over on X, I feel people losing their minds a little bit more over these little swings. Like it feels like that. I don't know for sure, but at least what I'm seeing on my timeline,
because it's good for them to spread panic. Huda, is it not?
It's engagement farming, huh?
Yeah, I do think so. Like, spreading panic, whatever it is. Like, as long as it causes a commotion, there's people out there that are going to try to ride that wave.
Okay, well, that makes sense because, like, when I would see 5% swings, and it's really interesting that the swings we're seeing are like 5%. Like, usually it's down 5, up 5, something like that. Okay, that number 5 has been, like, baked into my brain since 2021. Because, like, okay, I was in crypto in 2016, 2017. Bye, Henry. He usually hits a dead spot. He'll be back. I was in crypto back then, but I wasn't following it the way that I started in the NFT bull run, right? It was different. Like during this last cycle or the 2021 cycle, I had crypto.com, like the app installed on my phone. I had Coinbase on my phone, and I would get notifications when there was like price swings like that. Okay, so I would wake up all the time. I would be looking at my phone, get up in the morning and see Bitcoin down 5%, everything down 5%. I would get individual notices for different tokens. And then I knew, because I would see it time and time again, a couple days later, it's up 5%, then up another 5%. Like, it's always these 5% swings. So, like, back then, I'm like, that is my indicator that we are in a bull market. Nothing more. There was no, like, feeling shitty when it dropped 5%. There's no feeling euphoric when it went up 5%. I'm like, that is just what happens in a bull market. Come to this time now, and I see people, like, losing their goddamn minds with every swing.
It's weird, right? Like, I mean, I think, like, the investors in the crypto space are, a different profile, right, from traditional investors. Like when you look at Wall Street and all this shit, like it takes a significant like swing, right, or change in the numbers, or like some announcement or something, in the macro that like really gets people to come out and start talking. Otherwise, it's business as usual, right? I think like most of those Wall Street guys, they open the thing. Or they don't use newspapers anymore. But back in the day, they opened the newspapers, they looked at stuff, they put it down, and it's like, okay, business as usual. Let's move on. Over here, like you said, any slight movement or anything, you have people spinning up spaces, postulating the next fucking downturn, what it could all mean. Yeah, I think, it's just a different breed. Degens are a different breed, and like I do think like you need to be actively involved in protecting your headspace from that bullshit, because it will eat you up. It'll suck you in. It'll eat you out. And like, I don't know, that sounded dirty, but whatever.
No, I hear you. Makes sense. Why Solana down almost 11%? So like,
let's spin up a space and talk about why it's gonna die.
Solana?
Of course it's not. But I'm sure there's somebody out there.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Talk about how it's all over.
Yeah.
Man,
I again, Beanie talk, but Beanie like uber bullish on Solana after this like downtime with a fix being implemented that should make it, much more usable, not getting all those failed transactions. That's wow, Doge is even
story before.
I didn't realize stuff was down this much. I looked at like your top 3 to 5 coins and actually just like this. I didn't even scroll down. Holy shit. Sheeb is down almost 10%. Avex down like 15%. Dot down. Wow. Dude, didn't realize at all. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's only healthy, I think.
People moving from those secondary coins to in a way Bitcoin. Is that what's happening? Because I know Bitcoin's down too.
I mean, I think these moves are due to the larger macro environment, right? And to what we were talking about going on in the Middle East and stuff like that. Like, I think all of that affects the broader markets and will drag this down. Not to mention that we're like 6 days away from the halving, and usually you do have these things. And also, like Monday is tax day as well, too.
Right.
So all these things come into play. I think it's only natural. And like I don't know, like most people have been talking about us needing a healthy retracement before we can actually get the party going. So I'm good with it. I was expecting it. And again, I'm not checking in for these swings.
Doesn't fade Biggie Poppins. Good. Okay. Sales though. Sales, dude, ripping. This is yesterday, 51.8 million. That is it's about a 4-week high. And we keep setting 3 to 4 week highs the past few days, actually, which is super impressive. I mean, okay, I was going to say very impressive seeing NFT sales go up, but then it's just like reminded myself, a lot of that is BRC20s, a lot of it. And a lot of that is that Pups BRC20, which absolutely cooking. I am kicking myself for not getting that. To me, just such an obvious play. Have they
talked about what that's going to do? Is just pure meme coin, or like are they
pure meme coin? That is their narrative, and it's why I had that topic yesterday: shitcoin versus meme coin versus like utility token. Pure meme coin, and again, they are running with the narrative that they're the first meme coin, and it okay, I mean, it kind of is, man. It's
Here
like it's the culture
first.
thing, dude. They got it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, another 2 months of who was first. Great.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that shit. Good morning, shit. By the way.
Combo.
But regardless, it's just good and healthy. I love seeing that action. Okay, so this was interesting. Doing my digging this morning, just looking for stories, and I see a great interview with Yatsu, who I anytime I see his name in an interview, I stop and I read.
You gush.
I kind of do. I mean, he is yeah, man. I mean, if Bitcoin's the kind of the grandfather of blockchain, which it is, to me he feels like the grandfather of Web3. I feel that pretty strongly. Okay, nothing really profound coming out of this other than he sees what's going on over on Bitcoin, and he's still very bullish that on NFTs and talking about their time is coming. Okay, what I really caught was a reference to Crypto Slam here. Okay, so talking about monthly sales volume here, and it hit me. I never reviewed monthly sales volume for last month. I didn't even have in my mind what sales looked like. And it was actually pretty damn impressive. So yeah, 1.4 billion last month. Like, other than December, that's the highest we've seen since, early 2022. Let's say mid 2022. That's how big of a month last month was. And again, I didn't realize that. It felt hot, but I didn't realize that hot. And I also have to mention, this is not counting Runestone numbers, and we know Runestones did massive numbers. So that number's probably more like, you know what? It's hard to say because I don't know. I don't know where that cutoff is with those Runestone sales in April versus March, but I wonder if we actually beat December. And it is going back. We are crawling that collection, so we'll have Runestone data and RSIC, and there's a couple others that are still onboarding, but it may end up that March was our best month since mid-2022, whereas before it was December. So just some good perspective. We had a really big month last month. Also, trade profits were even higher than December. And again, that's not counting Runestone. So a lot of money being made in this space, on par with the all-time peak of the bull market. And I think we all agree still, we're not in that euphoria phase, not even close. We're not there, and we're already doing numbers that mirror the peak euphoria 2022. That is really bullish to me, like incredibly bullish. So buckle up, guys. That thing we were all hoping is coming it's coming. How you doing, Henry?
Yeah, good.
I had you muted just because there was some feedback, but feel free to.
Oh, is it okay now?
It still does it when we talk, but it is fine for me.
Okay.
So,
it was starting to feel like in the last week or so, like I started having these like questions in my mind, like, okay, you have a strategy. Is this where you want to offload some things? Because like obviously there's the event coming, right? Buy the rumors, sell the news. So it's like, with runes, you don't want to miss out on the drop. Well, at least that's the game I'm playing. But then there's the other side of it, which is like, it's funny because like with Ethereum, you're used to seeing like, okay, let's say a project minted for 0.01 or 0.07 or whatever that was. And we had things running to 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 ETH. And you almost program in your mind these steps of like, okay, well, it hit 2 ETH, or certain barriers, hit 1 ETH, and then you get a pullback. With Bitcoin, you're moving in increments of, fractions pretty much, 0.01, 0.01 increases, kind of significant.
$700 for every 0.01. I mean,
yeah,
man.
But like we don't see these astronomical moves. Like nothing's running,
right?
Nothing's running into the 5 figures quickly. I think that's maybe that's a good way to put it. Like it's not hitting. What would that be right now? 0.2? Is that give or take 0.2 Bitcoin? Point
would be 5 figure, yeah, right around there, right?
0.18. Yeah, it's funny. I'm just like, so part of me is like, are we going to see that? Like, are we going to see those massive spikes into the 5, maybe even 6 figure range? Or is this sort of like is this sort of how it's going to play over there?
Dude, I certainly think we're going to see that. And honestly, you said it perfectly because that was a lot of the basis for today's show. It is rune stuff, but I mean, Udi's tweet is what inspired the headline and the image. And I believe the dude. I see what he's seeing, and I have for a while. But the baseline price for every semi-desirable Ordinals collection is going to be 2 Bitcoin.
Okay,
right?
Define that for me. Give me like when you say semi-desirable, you're talking monkeys, quantum cats.
I think the semi-desirable.
He's talking ink.
No, I don't think ink. Maybe but maybe that could be what he's talking. I think he's talking like
up here, right?
Henry, I do have to mute you. I think between. Okay, thank you, sir. I think he's talking not quantum cats because I don't think those are semi-desirable. They are right now. I'll say that they are right now. Semi-desirable. I would say that's probably like pizza ninjas. Although they're in a really nice spot right now. Maybe Bitcoin frogs. I think they might be a perfect example, which means they're really underpriced right now. In fact, let me put this on the screen.
Oh, that's what you meant by being in a really nice spot, like being
cheap,
being like accessible still, like not.
Dude, I mean, frogs have come down to like 0.06, something like something absolutely insane. Frog. Yeah, 0.068. That's what I think would be semi-desirable. Like have a narrative. They're not the one. They're not the pinnacle. They're not the ape. They're not the.
He's saying it's going to be 2 BTC, and not at these prices. Apparently, not at 70K BTC. He's talking 2 BTC at 140K. Yeah. He's talking about a $300 asset. I would
do that math.
Really like to know what Udi's smoking because I need some of that shit for my 420 fucking pregame over here next Saturday. Udi, my man. I mean, I love the fucking bullishness, but 300K for not even a year-old asset on BTC versus I wonder what a Fidenza is going for by that time, or a Larva Labs, Glyph or something like that.
Wrong headspace. Wrong headspace, and it makes sense.
Yeah, like Bitcoin is in its own. I think that's where I push back a little bit. To me, it's like you're collecting. Still, in the end, the definition is the same: digital assets on a distributed ledger. Blah blah blah.
Right.
There is such a thing as I think like a Lindy effect. There is a such thing as I do believe in provenance. I do believe in staying power and longevity. And I'm sorry, but like there is a very big difference between something that just happened and just launched versus something that's been around here since 2018. Can I give you a little context too? Like and I want you to keep going because I love your thoughts here.
picture peak euphoria again. That short window, whether that's a few months, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's just a month even. But that window of peak euphoria, like we saw in early 2022 when projects minted and hit 5 ETH overnight, like that period of time. That is,
I can see it happening. I can see people spending 2 ETH, 2 BTC on ordinals on Bitcoin. I don't know if like for the semi-desirable ones, like he's saying, I'm like,
right.
We never saw that. Yeah,
if you're gonna spend 300K on a digital asset, I'd hope you'd really do your homework. You know, like I mean, I don't know. Maybe I know that there are some degens out there, like Udi likes to postulate. They have so much Bitcoin out there that they're like, oh, I'm gonna throw 2 Bitcoin into this and just get it. Sure, okay, fine. Those people exist. They're fucking unicorns. Like, there's not that many of them. I'd like to think that the majority of the people, you're gonna spend 300K on a fucking asset or more. God knows what BTC is at that point. You do a little bit of homework, right? Like
there may not be many, but I also think there's not many of those guys.
One.
There's enough, but I also think there's not going to be as many ordinals as people would expect. We're not going to see the kind of supply that we see on Ethereum. Even if it feels like that now, because we just hit 69 million inscriptions. So it feels like the supply is kind of coming up pretty quick. But that's also counting every inscription. That is counting, these text-based like bitmaps. That is counting BRC20s. It is counting everything, every kind of inscription. But, and this is what we're going to get into probably here in just a few moments, but the cost of inscribing is supposedly going to go up a lot, which means
I've seen that in some of like the circles that I'm in, and like some artists that are. The person that immediately comes to mind is Solom. He's got his 12 weeks of glitch, and he's kind of had to pause that because of this, right? Like, and he's like looking to speed run and inscribe all of these things before the halving. That's because he's anticipating that the rise in the fees for this. So yeah, I think you're gonna see this network clog up some and the fees go up. I mean, it's only reasonable, right?
Yeah. And we're gonna get deeper into that too, because there's like Biggie and I chatted beforehand, and I think we see this very, very much the same. But digging this morning, I went some Discords and I was asking around. I'm like, but why? Like, why are fees gonna go up, and how much are they gonna go up, and what is the reason? And it's pretty straightforward stuff, although it was good to hear, and it's all stuff that made sense. But there were a couple things that made me realize that it could be something that's not a short-term increase, that it might be like this is the reality of Bitcoin now. And if that is the case,
not a bug.
I'll tell you this, for a 4-year window, and there is a reason why specifically 4 years. But if that is the case, that does mean, Ordinals collections, there may not be many new ones at all. And at that point, then, if you're wanting exposure, you are only buying what's already out there. So if you time that up with the peak euphoria market, that's where I see that scenario playing out. It's a very specific scenario, but I see it.
But for a semi-desirable collection to hit, I'll say even 1.5 Bitcoin and hit the 6-figure USD mark, how many collections did we see that with on mainnet? Peak euphoria, 8.
But let's put it in dollar terms, right, 50, Henry?
That's what I'm saying. Like to hit something over $100,000 in USD. Again, I'm just saying, like, literally 2 PFPs, and 1 or 2 art collections. Right. So to classify it as semi-desirable ones hitting that, not like the most, not the creme de la creme, but semi-desirable hitting a floor price of 1 to 2. While I'm bullish on ordinals, that it defies, I feel like, everything that we've learned from 21, because most people are going to take profits. Most people realize that's not sustainable. So I could see, like, if you're talking Taproot Wizards, maybe Quantum Cats, maybe Node Monkeys, but to say semi-desirable, it feels like hyperbole.
Man, it's funny because I see those top tier ones as being something more like 3 to 5.
I agree, but dude, I mean, that's also like you're seeing the headspace of somebody that lives and breathes Bitcoin, right? Like, ideally, this is the dude that's pushing, Taproot. What is it, like the OpCat? He's riding with his family that's all ordinals, the wizards and the quantum cats, and like he lives and breathes this day in, day out.
And fair to say, he understands it.
It comes with its positive, but it also comes with its negative. I do think it's like having blindfolds on sometimes and saying like, hey, there is a whole other space out there that people will be arena where people will be playing, and these ideally all these different assets and these chains are going to be clamoring for your attention, you know, one way or another. And so I think that's where I feel like his euphoric bullishness on semi-desirable collections is maybe a little bit off. And
okay,
that's
let me push back because it's clear we're kind of on opposite sides of this. Henry's a little in the middle ground. But
Henry. I don't think like total opposites, but like I agree. It's like node monkeys and stuff like that. 2.5 ETH. BTC, fine. But like semi-desirable collections at peak euphoria, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a couple of greater fools, right? Suckers that go into it and buy the tippity top. There always is.
The analogy would be that
they're going to be flying off the shelf.
Yes. Actually, Henry, that is a perfect example.
What?
It would be saying like Kaiju Kings at peak euphoria would have been 35 ETH.
Dude, Tommy likes our song, by the way. Thank you, Tommy. That is like that's our anthem.
Yeah. So
don't you know?
Sorry, Henry.
No, you're good. That to me is the analogy of a semi-desirable collection.
Yep.
A Kaiju King, maybe even a bean or something like that.
Yep.
Running to 35 ETH, which we just never saw. And I thought most of us agreed that we weren't ever going to get back to that level again.
Never on Ethereum. And I actually walked that back. I think we will. I think it's not going to be this cycle. I think we're still going to have like a different kind of super cycle in NFTs years down the road. I think we'll see it again. But Bitcoin specifically, I am a believer that there's people. Well, okay, you need to picture peak euphoria, that market where Bitcoin is 150,000, maybe is 250,000, somewhere in that range. And when guys are high on life and they are just spending because they are set for life, whether it's suddenly set for life or already were and now they are set for multiple lifetimes.
Well, they think they are.
Well, let's just assume they are. Let's just assume these guys are set for life, no questions asked. They're done. And 2 ETH to them at that point again is nothing when they're high on being rich, and that's what happens. But check this out. So Ethereum at its peak, like at its absolute peak, average sale prices for the NFTs were, let's say, 2,000. Here's 2,200. But mostly I would say like 1,500 up to, let's say, 22, 23, 2,400. Again, peak of the NFT bull market. That was Ethereum average sale prices. Okay, right now I don't think we're anywhere close to the peak of either side. I mean, obviously, the average sale price in Bitcoin is 1,600 so far in April. It was 1,900 last month. That is only climbing now once the RSIC data comes in here too. It's a different ecosystem. It's the NFTs on Solana are not as expensive as they were on Ethereum. The NFTs on Tezos, different prices than any of those. It is the same exact thing on Bitcoin. They have a different upside. There is a different kind of value. It is just one of those things that it's kind of like this unwritten rule, maybe an unexplainable rule, because all you can say is it's because it's Bitcoin, but it is a thing, and it's there in the numbers, and for whatever reason, it is just how that ecosystem works. So that is part of that statement from Udi. That price, we'll see it because that's kind of the prices that Bitcoin commands. I think it's coming. I really do.
Listen, I hope you're right, because I feel like I'm mostly in semi-desirable versus desirable. So that would be great for bags. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think it's realistic. Like in my mind, I'm like, okay, what's my expectations? Semi-desirable run to 0.25. That's a win. Semi-desirable 0.25, 0.5 BTC. It's just, man, it's really hard to picture that. But also, I've been amazed by what can happen in Web3. So like, I also recognize anything's possible.
Something that maybe helps put this in perspective too. We don't have the perspective of being able to buy multi-Bitcoin pieces. It's unfucking fathomable. We don't have the Bitcoin. I don't even have a whole Bitcoin. Like, it's not even possible. But go ahead.
No. I cut you off.
Well, then I'll make it quick. If a scenario plays out where because of runes and because, that euphoric market, where you get a couple wins and all of a sudden, for the first time ever, you're sitting on 2 Bitcoin and you're sitting on 3 or 5 or whatever. Man, then all of a sudden you feel like you can start shopping around at things that are 0.5. You may feel like you can spend on something like that. There's just a snowballing effect that can happen there, and a lot of it does hinge on runes and the meme coin stuff, like bringing more and more and more liquidity to this market.
I mean, it honestly, that's just to me. Honestly, that's such a small sector of why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin, because there's the whole DeFi aspect with L2s that nobody's factoring into this equation. That, like, because for all the so-called fudding I do for Ordinals, right? Like, you do have all these inflows going into these ETFs, right now, and these, again, like you said, multi-Bitcoin zillionaires out there, right, that have had that thing sitting in their wallets forever. Like, all of a sudden you open up the gates with like restaking and L2s, and assuming that these contracts are bulletproof and tested over time, like, hey, you offer a safe certain percentage yield on your Bitcoin. I cannot see a world where many of these people don't put at least a portion of their bags into this, right? What does that do to the price of Bitcoin, right? Add to that, like, again, whether ordinals are transacted on main chain or on L2s, that just, all of this just makes me super bullish on Bitcoin. And to me, that's the part where I sometimes have a hard time not grasping, but it's just kind of like, why would I go anywhere else? I've already got the greatest ordinal of all, the #1 meme before fucking pups. Fucking Bitcoin.
Exactly. Exactly.
My bags, ordinal people.
I look at all these ordinals as just Bitcoin miners. That's how I look at them. Easiest way to make Bitcoin now is ordinals. Henry, I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
No. It's a great points. I think we, not to keep going down this road, and then I'm going to turn it to just another side thought, but we didn't see that happen on ETH, where you talk about, like, imagine all the people sitting on Ethereum, and when you have these projects and they've got thousands of ETH, literally thousands of ETH, tens of thousands of ETH, and like they didn't support NFTs when they made their fuck you money, right? So I realize Bitcoin is different, and I know there's a different culture there, and I think it's going to be successful, but I'm just looking at the past as some reflection of what's going to happen in the future, and I'm like, it didn't happen that way. And there's far less people in ordinals than there ever was playing in on mainnet or the L2s, which brings me to another point, which is, there was this idea that I've had, you and I may have even had this conversation before, about other chains and other chains having their Bored Ape and something that just goes, through the roof, right? We saw it with Solana a little bit with like Mad Lads, but I don't think these other chains are going to get them. I don't look at Say and not shit talking Say. I don't look at Say, Base, Blast, and think to myself, these are going to be where we're going to see the next generational wealth in NFTs come from. Certainly not in this cycle, if ever. I feel, could be totally wrong, but I kind of feel like at this point there have been lines that have been drawn, and I think it's mainnet, ordinals, which are 2 king chains, maybe Solana, with some projects, but I don't see it happening anywhere. Polygon was never able to really make it happen. Base, Say, Blast, Avalanche, Arbitrum, like they just can't make it happen on those chains. Anyway, just another random.
It's getting spread too thin, isn't it?
Well, and I think, Henry, we need to define like these NFTs that you're referring to, right? Because if we're talking about art or PFPs, then I kind of agree with you, kind of. But there's another NFT sector genre that I think can only work on those chains you mentioned, and those are gaming NFTs, right?
Still don't think we'll see it with those.
Really? Like, not with Ron, not with Beam, not with AVAX? AVAX is fucking killing it with gaming. Really?
No.
Okay.
No,
but you will need a high performance like blockchain to be able to do the functions that you are required for gaming, right? Like, I don't see that playing out on Ethereum mainnet or freaking BTC. I don't care about whether Opcat works or not. Like, for gaming, I mean, come on.
I would never be able to explain this as eloquently as you could, and I genuinely mean that. Like, you have a way of being able to put your words together coherently. So I'm just going to fumble through this. I don't think so. And I'm thinking of this as I'm saying it, so it might not make total sense. But when you're a gaming ecosystem, you're trying to cater to the masses, and there's this balance that I think nobody's really been able to achieve of catering to the masses, and then being able to reward exclusivity. It's a difficult thing to do. It's almost like somebody could bring up a great case point to maybe prove what I said wrong, but it's either you're rewarding exclusivity or you're catering to the masses. It's very difficult to do both. And so I think when it comes to gaming, whether you look at Axes, look at Pixels, look at Captain and Company on Blast, which they moved from Arbitrum, look at Play and Collect, look at any gaming ecosystem until maybe somebody big comes in, an Epic Games, a Fortnite. Until somebody big comes in, I can't see how somebody's going to have this premier asset that's worth gobs of money, but keep the Ponzi going long enough for that to actually be withstanding. I think it's a very difficult code to crack, and I think that's why it really hasn't happened. If they can figure out a DeFi side of it, I could see that. But in the conventional kind of gaming, I don't see it. Everything feels way too watered down. And I think what people are finding is it's very difficult to keep the Ponzonomics going for a while. And if somebody like Fortnite did come in, like, what would they do to be able to, would they take this theory of like, hey, let's come out with like a 5K PFP project, and maybe this thing runs to whatever, 2 BTC or 30 ETH. And then we'll have another collection as like a free to play. I just don't think they would take that. I don't think they would use that as a game mechanic personally. I think they will look to how do we reward people through individual items in the game versus a premier asset in the game. Because it kind of makes it unfair.
But those individual, that's where I see actually the premier assets really shining, right? Like maybe the PFPs aren't really where the rarity is, and more on like the leveling up of that PFP or that character, the skins, the special weapons that you're able to customize. That's where you get the rarity. That's where you get the value. And I do think like some form of NFT DeFi economics come into play there, right? I don't know, man. I think I agree. While I agree with you that they haven't cracked the code yet, I think there's some stuff out there that is showing signs that they're close. I do think in this cycle we will see some of these games really cement themselves as like these leaders, right? Like where you do want to hold assets, where you do want to do some sort of farming. And I'm more curious to see how that plays out going into the bear, right? Because usually I think like I don't know if you've tracked this, Henry, whenever we go into a bear, some of the best assets like in the traditional markets that do really well always are the vices, right? And it's like smoking, drinking, gaming, right? Because people are kind of depressed. They don't know, they don't have anything to do. Well, what happens now when you can game but maybe make some money on top of it, right? Continue to make some money or speculate for the next future bull run. That's I mean, obviously just with gaming, we'll see how it plays out, but I still remain bullish on high performance blockchains and like what they can bring to the table. That's one of the main reasons why I do think I'm really excited to see what this next chapter of evolution looks like for Bitcoin, especially with Udi's OpCat proposal. I'm not so sure about Runes and RSTake. I want to see how that plays out too. Bitcoin L2s I'm huge on. Like I think that's a big part of the evolution that's going to be coming with it too. But I do think that, you know, it's an evolve or die world, and there's only so much evolving that Bitcoin can do. Maybe that's my limited understanding of how far you can push the tech. But from like looking at it from the architecture point of view, the block size, you really can't change that. Like you really can't. And so you will bump into limitations, and so will Ethereum, right? Like, which is supposedly better. Like you will eventually need to embrace L2s or high performance blockchains to do some of the smart contract stuff that we like to talk about. And so let's see.
But, by the way, I'm totally going off. Like, I know I took this down a gaming route for some reason, so I only have one more question, maybe for both of you. But like, Huda, I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on this. Is it possible that in the gaming sector that everybody's trying to crack the code, opening these up to the masses versus like, I'll use Play and Collect, which is really for the community, right? It's for VX cons. It's not for anybody else. Is it possible that there doesn't exist a mechanic that can keep the flywheel going, keep the Ponzonomics going, where you can feed the masses and still bring in enough as a business model to make it worthwhile to do? Because the reality is, like, Axis couldn't do it, right? Axis had to cut their land yield. They pissed off all their landowners by basically killing their yield. Even in Pixels, which I'm a big fan of Pixels, but I've seen a lot of complaints about people. Saw somebody in Kong's Discord yesterday talking about it, and I've heard it from many people that the rewards are not nearly what they were. And so, like, I'm just curious, is it possible? Like, it's just not possible to do. Like, you can do it at the beginning. You can do it maybe before TGE. You can do it leading up to a raise. You get people, you're showering them with rewards, right? Because you want to get your DAU up and you want your stats to look good. But in the end, like, that money's got to come from somewhere. The money comes from somewhere, and it's coming from your business model. And where's that money coming from? After TGE, where's that coming from? It's a little bit of a Ponzi if you think of it that way. And I just wonder if that is borderline impossible to sustain versus, like, Biggie, what you were saying, just in-game assets being worth money because people enjoy playing the game, like, CSGO skins. People enjoy playing it. I'm curious.
It's exactly, I think, what Biggie said. I think it'd be very hard for a game dev to design a successful PDE game. I think if you design a successful game that people love to live in, like a Grand Theft Auto, like a World of Warcraft, any of those where players live and breathe the economy, and they put their blood, sweat, and tears into the game because it's the game and like the camaraderie they find in the game, that's the model that works. I don't know how that benefits, like, the game maker, other than it's extra sticky. It's more engaging if people in that ecosystem make money through the stuff they earn, like through their, truly the play to earn, play and unlock rare armor that they don't want to let go, but somebody could tempt them to let go of it with 100 grand. That to me is the kind of PDE stuff that works. And I'll just always say, again, Grand Theft Auto. If and those assets...
There's an IRL component to this always too, right? Like, that I do think you cannot ignore. Hats off to Luca Nets to being the first one to really, like, go out and start implementing it and put it in front of people's faces. But, like, I think if you get that game, like you said, Huda, to like, Grand Theft Auto usability standards and everything, then I cannot see why you won't be able to, put figures on Walmart or posters or stickers or merch and maybe even potentially a movie deal or a series on it. Like, I think that's the roadmap. It's kind of like the movie IP roadmap that needs to kind of eventually come to par with the ecosystem itself, the online ecosystem.
Yep.
But I think there is a model that will be cracked. I'm very confident in that. Like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I'm very confident that this cycle we will have a more established or roadmap, approvable.
But Biggie, something more in like a persistent world, like, is that, like, it needs to be something like that people, like, they want to spend all their time there, and they don't want to, like, I would imagine they don't want to play multiple games. They want to have the game that they go to every day. Like, Helldiver's kind of that thing right now. But
there's different
markets
for different gamers, right? Like there's those persistent worlds, and like there's the shoot 'em ups, and then you have like the Farmvilles, right? Like casual gaming that, for whatever reason, like there's a whole world of people out there that absolutely go banana. Like I like one of my wife's friends plays fucking Farmville still, to think that all of a sudden you cannot add like a layer of earnability, even and maybe
Pixels is doing it now.
But like, this is at the core of what I'm saying is.
Hey, Henry, hang on real quick. I just got to step off camera for a minute, keep the game chat going, and I'll be right back, and then I'll get us into some Rune stuff. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So Biggie, I guess what I wonder is how far away are we from that scenario you just described, where your friend's wife plays Farmville, my wife plays some like silly kitchen game where like you're serving customers, and what incentive do those game devs have to give anything back when their model works perfectly fine and they're taking the full rake? That's the part where I'm like, Web3 has attempted to crack this this code, this idea of like, let's give back. But you can only give back so much, because at the end of the day, you've got a business to run. And I think what we've seen with almost every game is like, yeah, initially you good intentions, you're set with it, and then at the end of the day, it's like, well, now I'm playing this semi-shitty game in comparison to many other mobile games and certainly console games. Now I'm playing this other game, which I could justify before because I was earning. Now I'm like kind of earning, I guess, because they've had to pull back the rewards because there's still a business to run. So I just am like, is that code possible to crack? And what incentive do the game devs have to give back when up until now they haven't needed to?
Yeah. We have Degen Hulk, great name, by the way, here, saying, I see it a bit in Decentraland with some old items being more traded by OG players as they really want that item, but the user base is still too low to have a lot of gamers doing that. Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously we're gonna get in maybe into a little bit into the royalties part, Henry. There, yes, royalties have been kind of dead for a while now. I also think that doesn't mean they can't be implemented, come back with like either a new token standard or develop one, because I think that's a thing. Like you said, like right now, businesses aren't incentivized very much, right? Like, but if you can actually implement like a solid bulletproof royalty system where you are making, multiples of a percentage from one asset that you put out, then all of a sudden you're incentivized, right? Like to give back and to promote people trading. I know it's like a tired conversation that we've had for some time now, but I don't know. It's kind of like whenever I hear these extremes, like it's over, it's dead. It's like, is it? I just feel.
I don't think it's over. I just, you have these game devs that are, let's say, conventionally making a game, and they're working on the next one, right? And they're keeping you entertained, and they're using the money that they make, that they've earned from making that game to help develop the next game, right? You got Web3 companies that are effectively doing the same thing. And if the idea is play to earn, they're having to give back part of that rake, which really should be used to develop the next iteration of the game that's going to come 2, 3, 4 years after. But the reality is, I think the business model is a little bit weird, because you're giving back money that had you made a badass game conventionally, you don't have to give any of it. You're not taking 20% or 10% and handing it back to your players. And even 10% might not be enough if you're, look at Pixels. What do they, a million DAU or hundreds of thousands? It's really, really difficult to make that happen. Anyway, I know that went way off the rails from Bitcoin, because certainly we're not gaming on Bitcoin. But
sir, we actually are gaming on Bitcoin. Believe it or not. Believe it or fucking not. There's a handheld device called the BitBoy that's coming out.
Yeah,
it will, Bitcoin rewards. And Animoca building an MMO over on Bitcoin. So it's going to happen. Again, you need upgrades. But yeah, let me move this on to still some Bitcoin-y, well, very much some Bitcoin-y things. I did notice, though, Henry, in that Udi tweet about those semi-desirable NFTs, he gave some examples, which was Doodles. So he's like, Doodles, peak euphoria, you guys were trading for 20 plus ETH. That's the kind of NFT or Ordinal he sees trading it.
But that wasn't semi-desirable. Doodles was top tier.
Well, then let's look at it like that. Let's just say his semi-desirable means the top tier ones.
Okay.
So
then I agree.
So then for context,
and I will say one thing that he seems to not be factoring in here, and he's insinuating it with this post, is that basically saying that things are going to play out exactly the same way they played out in the last NFT run. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. people do learn from this mistake. People were burned. People did shit talk NFTs. I don't think you're going to have the exact same narratives. Last time when that happened, it was the explosion.
It was new.
The coming out party of NFTs. Right. Everybody speculated it on it. Everybody got crazy on it. This time, there's people that are a little more tempered. You know, there's people that have that past experience.
Yes.
That will, and that narrative will come to bear. I'm not the only one
it will. It'll be a factor, but we've not felt how high the Bitcoin, like people are going to test.
The whales out there, right?
Not even the whales, the normies. The normies are going to test just how high. Why am I not selling runestones at 0.09? Because I think they can go higher, right? Everybody's going to be testing just how high can this stuff go.
And why is the majority of the people not playing ordinals yet? Because we've been conditioned since 2009 that Bitcoin is that asset you hold. It's not what you sell. It's not what you trade. It's what you put in the vault for your kids.
And those people are not going to be making any more Bitcoin. They're going to sit on their Bitcoin, which is great.
Maybe they are. They're just going to do it using like a safer method, whether it's using DeFi and just getting a certain percentage yield, or they're going to go play on these other blockchains like Ethereum and Solana and shitcoin on these really quick things and then come back
on over,
and deposit it on Bitcoin.
Smart.
But to assume that they're going to say, okay, now let me take this Bitcoin that everybody says you hodl till you fucking die, and let me go buy the tippity top of this and ape into the equivalent of a doodle this time. That's the part where I want to see. I want to see it. I pray that all of you like fucking kill it, and you know, and because if you do, then we all fucking win.
It's good for everybody, because then that spreads as well. So there is another, like, I guess this kind of feeds into the how or the why it can happen. Noticing that on Ethereum, there is no NFT collection that did over 1 million in sales yesterday. Clearly, Ethereum NFT is struggling right now. I believe, you know, still they'll have their cycle. We'll see some phenomenal price action over there, but really interesting to see that. I don't have any like kind of parallels or points here. I just wanted to show that Puppet's Node Monkey's floor price dead fucking even.
Dude, that is so
really wild,
insane, dude. Like I remember the pups. Like how were they free, Huda?
They were, if not free, they were like $50, $70. It was like nothing. I mean, it was like maybe the cost to inscribe. But here's what I see that's interesting is Casey Rodamore, and I know this is the narrative out there in the Bitcoin world. They literally, they want to kill ETH. They want to kill ETH. Casey here basically calling it, well, not even basically. He says all other chains can get fucked. You see English pop in here, and they drop these comments like ETH is a test net. Because they are looking to upgrade Bitcoin. They are. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens if that narrative really catches, if they can buff Bitcoin to the point where it actually, like, because right now it's a silly statement. Like, it's silly. Like, no, you know, Ethereum has got so many advantages over Bitcoin right now.
Tremendously silly.
But what happens if it doesn't? And again, it gets interesting at that point.
I'm not down for chain maxis. I think chain maximalism will kill you in this space. It has, like, historically, it's proven to be the case. Anybody that comes off, I mean, how long have we been trying to kill fucking Cardano?
Cardano can never die, can it? Turkey listening to us, by the way, at the gym. Appreciate you, brother.
Can we try to kill Doge before we try to kill Ethereum?
You're totally right. But like fucking these Bitcoin guys, they got that dog in them. I love that. I love the aggressiveness. I love the belief in their thing. I don't think it's delusion. I don't.
Okay. Well,
and I'm a big believer in ETH. Like I don't think they're killing ETH. That is never going to happen. I think ETH is.
Thank you. I mean, that's the thing. To me, it is delusion. It's like, man, I've spoken to these dudes before, man. And the fact that you just can't engage in a fucking like amicable conversation and agree to disagree and everything, just I'm not down for maximalism whatsoever.
How much is showmanship? Right now, like just
showmanship is fine, you know, like that's fine. But I actually do think this dude like thinks that, and it like
Casey's fucking great.
It scares me.
I really liked it. I'm not gonna lie. When I read an article, I think it was Decrypt, and when I was reading like exactly what he was saying about runes, that like his goal was to take liquidity away from all of the chains and bring it to Bitcoin. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like it gave me goosebumps. I was like,
whose comment was?
It was Casey's.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was Casey's about runestones, and it was specific. Like, in fact, I think I like cropped the quote and I like dropped it in the Kong's Discord.
Amazing.
Because I was just like, this is, yeah, there might, he might be trolling a little bit, or he might be trying to be humorous, but no, I think he believes it, and I like that. Like, he's making something. And he doesn't give a shit about the other.
He speaks about Bitcoin and his product the way you would speak about Kong, being a maxi, a believer, because you know it intimately. You know what it's capable of. And him saying here, previous one, but him saying that we're talking Bitcoin has inscriptions, a superior NFT standard, which that's interesting. And I think he only says that because he's only saying that because they're on chain. I think that's his only reason for saying that. And I would call that superior for in one way.
Desirability.
But then soon runes, a superior token standard. Again, we will see if that is a superior meme coin type of standard. Again, it will get very interesting if that is not just showmanship, just not engagement farming, but there is some truth to that, and there might be some truth to all that. So it's going to get fun.
Huda, if runes, RSig, Opcat, this whole meta playing out on, like, that's, can we call it Bitcoin 2.0?
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Because it is a hard fork. No, actually, it's a soft fork. It's not a hard fork.
I mean, it's part of this cycle's meta and evolution of Bitcoin, right? And like the narrative and how it's gonna evolve and be better and change. What is that to Ethereum? Because there is something, and nobody's talking about it, but we're gonna be fucking yakking about it all summer long. Eigenlayer. That is Ethereum's next evolutionary phase, and very few people are talking about it. But if you go and speak to Ethereum maxis, they're going to be telling you how Eigenlayer is going to revolutionize Ethereum. It's going to make it superior, and it's going to kill all these other things. It's, man, it's going to get interesting, man.
I definitely need to dive into Eigenlayer.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about it now at all.
Yeah, let's not. I agree. It's Nakamoto week. It's Nakamoto weekend. I
do want to get educated in it.
Pumped, dude.
Yeah, I gotta fly, man. Sorry, I gotta go.
Yeah, dude. All good. Great having you here.
Love
of course.
You guys.
Love you, Henry. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Man.
Don't you know?
All right.
We need to tell these people what we're doing next Saturday, because it's not a regular Saturday.
Oh yeah. Next Saturday.
Fucking wild. I can't wait. I'm scared. I'm scared for
Don't be scared, Biggie. It's only gonna hurt at first.
I'm trying to remember that movie Train Spotting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, remember like when he's getting ready to go on his heroin binge, and he goes to the supermarket and gets all these munchies and like gets everything. You know, like that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what munchies am I gonna have?
Oh,
like,
dude, we should prep.
Cheetos, or am I gonna do Doritos? I need some chocolates. I need all these cool drinks. I need my beers. I'm gonna be fucking set, dude. Like, I'm. What's the minimum viable dose? How long are we going, Huda? What does?
Okay, so let me explain what it is we're doing, which is next Saturday, a 12-hour live stream. It's gonna be a mega marathon stream. I imagine I'll be starting at 4 or 5 a.m. But it's going to go all day. I'm going to be inviting special guests. People are welcome to call into the show. 420, right? So it's a big day because we got the Bitcoin halving. We got runes popping off, hopefully like same day. So maybe we're doing some rune trading live. At the very least, we are going to be shooting the shit live. I'm going to get stoned, guys. I haven't gotten stoned in years. Like I literally microdose edibles. I don't get messed up at all.
You're gonna get stoned on runes and stoned on weed.
I'm going fucking
stoned. That's like
all fucking in next Saturday. Doing some giveaways too. We've got some NHL breakaway packs to give away. We got some Crypto Slam NFT whitelist to give away. And I'm going to have some CyberKong's mystery boxes to give away too. So a lot of stuff given away throughout the show. We're going to do some gaming too. Again, we're going to do whatever we feel like on that day, whatever you guys want to do too. But I imagine firing up Fortnite and Helldivers and whatever else people want to get into, because we got 12 hours to fill. And honestly, it might go longer. It just depends on how it goes. But Mike, the commitment is 12 hours. So 12 hours nonstop, streaming, eating, playing, having a good time, sharing alpha, sharing insights, learning about runes together. What is that?
Raiding. We're gonna go raiding. We're gonna go raid prominent potheads in the industry, and we're gonna try to get them on the show.
That's
I want to see if we can. Like, we'll start at the top, and if they don't respond, we'll go all the way to the bottom. I don't care what level. If you're a BC level celebrity, we'll get somebody in here to tell us their thoughts.
I'm going to point out something, an obvious thing, and I don't want to stay on it either. I just want to point it out. But like, again, just thinking of the potential on Bitcoin, because I am bringing us back into Bitcoin, but the potential. Solana, what's going on over there? Awesome. I mean, magical. That meme coin ecosystem, incredible. The market cap of their token, 67 billion. Everything happening on Ethereum, meme coin's crazy, of course. I mean, just, a gigantic ecosystem, under 400 billion? Yeah, 400 billion. Bitcoin, 1.3 trillion market cap. There's just a lot there. There's a lot of liquidity there. A lot. Okay, that's all. Moving on.
Yeah. We'll take out the lost Bitcoins first.
Yes, right? that's I love that point too. I think that's so cool.
I always love that, right?
It's like the CryptoPunks that have been burned. I love that.
Field coin out there. It's not really 21 million. Right. It's like 19.
I love it.
Yeah, man. Dude, one thing we haven't brought up though, and I don't know why I've been sleeping on it, is Stacks. Like, isn't Stacks launching the Nakamoto upgrade also on 420? If that is the case, that's bananas.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
I didn't know.
Triple whammy for Bitcoin right there. It's like the halving, runestones, and Nakamoto upgrade.
Jesus. Oh man, a big day. A big fucking day.
That's people.
Absolutely crazy. Okay, well then that's something I got to research. I want to make sure that we end here with talking about, I guess, the main topic, which is runes, or specifically setting up a node for runes. Because like I am planning to set up a node. I got my hard drive in yesterday, so I got my SSD, 2 terabytes minimum you need to set up your own node. But truthfully, I'm asking, why do I need a node? What is that actually going to do for me? What is the advantage that I keep hearing about? I hope I can make that a little more clear for you guys, what that advantage is going to be. And I'll tell you right up front, it may be minor. Like, it might be a very small advantage, but if you're going to take this very seriously, maybe that small advantage can matter. We'll find out. And again, I'm going to actually go through the setup process later this week. I got to set up mine still myself. I'll tell you right off the bat, this was like comforting to read. Trevor, who has walked through the whole Pizza Ninjas community on how to set up a node. I love that. And their floor price shows how much people like that and respect it, because their floor price is at an all-time high of like 0.16, which is crazy. But to hear that it's about as hard as running BitTorrent, I think if you guys have been around, you probably were running torrent stuff, uTorrent and I'm trying to remember.
LimeWire and Pirate Bay and all that good stuff.
Fucking brings me back. Yeah. I'm trying to remember the torrent client that was blue. It might have just been BitTorrent, but there was it had a blue icon, and that was like my go-to. And remember when Oink's Pink Palace was a great one for music. There was Waffles FM was amazing for music too. There was I missed the BitTorrent days, guys. But hearing this is about as complicated as running that, I don't imagine it's that true, because I remember you would download the client, you would maybe tweak a couple ports or settings, and it was just a matter of grabbing like a link or, a string and entering that somewhere.
You remember Lars Ulrich, the Metallica drummer, all pissed about it? You should just go and steal him off the shelf. It's actually a whiner.
Hang on, Loco. That's a good goddamn point here. A lot of activity for the little number of likes. You guys would do us like that? Actually, believe it or not, like I am, maybe recently I've been talking more about and, all that stuff. I never used to do that. I'm starting to now, because it really does help. And man, the channel is growing really fast. It took me probably 2 or 3 months to get my first 100 subscribers. I got an extra, probably 125 in the past 4 days. It is something different's happening here. That is all because of you guys. So thank you. And there's definitely lots of comments on the videos and lots of likes. So thank you guys. It helps like you wouldn't fucking believe. So appreciate it. Keep that up if you don't mind. It does help. Yeah, come on, Johan.
Oh yeah, dude.
Come on. But we're keeping it tight to runes, because we probably got about 10 minutes.
Many things I like about this Huda. First and foremost is the Trojan horse, right? Of again getting people to set up a node. I think when you do that, I commend you, Choina. Since 2020, he's been running a node. That's insane. I ran it for like a year or two, but it really makes you appreciate the tech a little bit better, understand it. Like if only for that, I think it's great that he's incentivizing people to go through this process and this experience. I'm almost tempted just because of that, right? Like it's like, man, I wonder. I do think it's a bigger edge than you're thinking, Huda.
Well,
I mean,
I'll tell you what that edge is. Do you know what the edge actually is?
Well, from my understanding, is the ability, like runes use the Lightning Network. So if you're setting up a full node, you'll be able to have your own like client, and send that transaction ahead of everybody.
That's
shortcut it. So I think that there will be a tremendous value in having that set up, especially assuming that this thing becomes the tsunami that everybody's expecting it to be. And I do think it is the case, but you need to understand that I'd imagine, Huda, are these things going to be traded like on a DEX? Because most people, from what I understand from you, like they were going to go to centralized exchanges, right? That are going to be supporting
Well,
it.
we're hoping that'll happen, and that will almost definitely happen. But they'll be traded on Magic Eden. I think is going to be. I think Magic Eden will be the #1 spot for trading.
It's going to get slammed. But yeah, it's a handful, right? Like what do you say? It's like less than 10, more than maybe at least 5, less than 10 places where you will be able to trade this the day it goes live.
Yep,
so
I would
that's
say
a very small window where everybody's going to want to get through to process their transactions, right? So I do think doing this is definitely going to set you apart from, I do think 99% of the amount of people out there that are going to be too lazy or going to think it's too hard. They're just not going to go through it, and they're going to get frustrated. And to me, that's also another part that I'm looking forward to seeing, and not in a bad way. It's just like, when you've been raising expectations so high, right? Because you do have people like Leonidas and Udi like having some very lofty goals, right? And like capturing the attention of so many people. And for better or worse, some people are acting on that word, right? Financial advice or not. And now, like now it's going to come to bear. I just don't want it to leave that in their mouth where they're like, screw this. I don't see that happening, but still, I am sure it's going to ruffle some feathers where they're going to be like, God damn it. Like, why didn't I sell up that light node? What's up, yo? How you doing?
Good to see you, Johan.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfectly.
How you doing, Biggie? How you doing, Huda?
Good, man. Good,
man. Lovely to have you here. Where you at, man?
Oh, I am at home.
You don't need to dox yourself, like region.
Oh, yeah, just Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Just
Cool.
the biggest country in the world, so you can try and find me if you want.
Right on.
Johan, are you diving into, like, I'm sure you're playing in runes, but are you going to be setting up a node?
I thought about it, but like, I don't know. I don't want to fuck around in high fee environments. It just feels like going to the beach on a Sunday. You know what I mean? That's like
Interesting.
Not really it's not really my scene.
So okay, so maybe you can shed a little more light on it. And I think Biggie almost nailed on the head as far as like what the node actually is going to do for you. My understanding, like the very specific thing it does for you is like you said, when runes actually launch, there's probably going to be 5-10 different platforms to trade runes on. If you have your own node, you don't need to rely on those platforms. You can do it directly from your node. Is that what it really boils down to?
It boils down to you being able to etch before something has been listed on a marketplace. So if like there's a super cool meme coin that's emerging or something and it's not on a marketplace yet, you could go on your command line and etch a few of them.
Would that be the same? Like, let's put it in ETH terms. If there was an NFT that's going for sale and it's not live on site yet, but you got the contract address and you go on the contract and you mint from the contract.
Exactly.
Similar. Okay. Hey guys.
It's
okay.
like we've been through the last cycle together, bro.
Right. Okay. So we know that's a huge advantage then. And that's what I think has been missing. I have not been able to find info about what is that advantage? What is the difference going to be? Why do you need a node other than like, it just sounds like it'd be something that would help. but I couldn't get the specifics, and that's it.
I just don't see the juice being worth the squeeze because it's going to be a super high fee environment, and you're going to be paying a premium anyway. So I'd just rather sit on the secondary and scoop or something, you know?
Okay.
Okay. So wouldn't that also mean, Johan, that like you could potentially lose out on some of those like gains, right? Like I'm just trying to think of like when meme coins usually launch, right? Like most people try to capture that beta real quick and like insta dump, right? And like the people that are able to get those transactions through first are the ones that benefit the most. Unless you're like speculating that this is going to be the meme coin and you're just holding through all these.
Well, the first 10 are going to be the ones everyone's shooting for, right?
Yeah.
And like, I mean, the first 10 isn't a slam dunk either. The first 10 of BRC20s, they're not all slam dunks. There's some garbage in there. There's like the bruh coin, right? Like nobody's heard of that, right? So,
bruh. Yeah.
So it all depends on the tokenomics that they launch with, and that's why I like the pre-runes, because let them do all the work and just airdrop it to me.
Oh, dude, like abso-freaking-lutely, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. About those fees, I do think that's a really important part of the conversation. That was something else I was digging into now because, okay, kind of like people are saying, you gotta run a node if you really want to win with runes coming up. I also keep hearing, hey, the supply of ordinals may come to a screeching halt because fees are going to be so high. And there is something to that, but I couldn't understand why are fees going to be so high other than everybody's expecting a little more activity. Maybe a lot more activity.
It's a lot of hype. You know what Leonidas is doing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a ton of hype out there.
Do you think that obviously it's good because you need to promote and market. Is there a point where it's detrimental? Is there a point where you might
There are some people that are going to get wrecked trying to etch some of these things, right? And
because of the fees?
Well, yeah. I mean, like when you're etching something at 500 sats of eByte and stuff like that, like not even 5,000, which they're saying, like 500. It's still expensive, right? So
and these are some of the numbers that I'm seeing. Like I went in a couple Discords and was asking, okay, fees now versus what you think they'll be here coming up, and man, people think fees are going to be like 2 to 5 times higher here once the halving hits. And again, it's going to be all that hype. People rush in to get runes etched. That's the term for basically minting a rune?
Yeah, inscribing.
Okay. So runes being etched, fees going up astronomically for it. This, I think, is actually really interesting here. And it's one of the reasons why some people, yes, expect there to be a rush at the start, but also think that maybe it doesn't tail off the way a lot of people think it will. And that's because of the first rune, right? I think this is rune number 1, right? Uncommon goods, which you can only mint for the next 4 years, 1 token per transaction. There are some people out there, like it may be safer to say that the first rune ever will probably have some baked in value because it's coming from Casey and because it is the first one. Maybe that narrative actually works for it.
Oh, I think he's definitely taking from the sats. What happened with sats, right? Like that minted out over almost 8 to 12 months. So
and is that the number 1 BRC20 or is that Ordi?
No, the number 1 BRC20 is Ordi. But sats was like there had to be, I think, 1 million mints plus. Like there was a lot of mints, so it gave everybody a chance to come in fairly. And that's what this is trying to mimic. It's like you don't have, just like Casey said, you don't have to mint rune 0 on day 1. You can wait 2 months out, 3 months out. Yep. The same thing with sats. You could have just waited and just,
So I guess what I found interesting was some of the guys replying here talking about, like, again, what's going to keep fees so high, that there are a few people at least who already have in mind that they're going to be setting up scripts. They're going to automate their purchases of common goods for 4 years. Constant buys, because again, 1 token per transaction, and these guys who already are set have got millions of dollars ready. Autopilot for 4 years, just constantly etching and etching and etching these tokens, keeping baseline fees at a number maybe that's higher than we've seen yet, at least what we're used to. So it's just another factor, another little element coming up here that it's part of that higher fee conversation. This is a big piece of it potentially, is that first ever rune collection or rune token that could keep things high for a bit, could keep the ordinals inscribing new collections like way down. Again, those fees might get crazy. So I'm watching the supply stuff on that side. It is going to get very interesting.
Yes, and Johan, I'm curious to see if you have an idea of what this may be, because like I think whenever you have these like kickoff events, right, for a particular asset or action that you need to take on crypto, I always find that you do have these bottlenecks, right? Like, oh, the bridge is down or it's clogged or whatever, and everybody's losing their ass. And you're in these talks, and all of a sudden, there's always somebody that comes up with a workaround. It's like, oh, you should be using this other bridge, or you can go on this other L2 and do this or whatever. I wonder what that's gonna be for this, because I'm sure there's something out there. I don't know if it's a tool or if it's something that you'll be able to do. I don't want to say to front run people, but to like you know, when everybody's trying to use a particular DEX or something, like somebody's going to say like, no, everybody's killing it over here, like using something else that nobody else is looking at. Do you think there's something like that that's going to play out? Or do you have an idea of something that you think you'd like to try? You don't have to share the alpha. Totally.
No,
share
absolutely.
the
Hey, maybe no. There's this lightning channel that nobody's looking at, and I know it. You know, I'm gonna use it. Maybe it's that, right? Like,
you just look at the fast-moving teams like who provide the infrastructure. Like, there's one of the first ones that came out was a Chinese team called Rune Alpha.xyz. They have the Cook token, and I just own a small amount of it, like not even anything really, but you look to places like that to list things like right away, and then once they're listed right away, then you have access to it through a front end. They'll do all the hard work for you, right? So that's what you would do. Look for teams that build the utilities right away.
I like that. Yeah, man. I don't know. I feel like everybody's gonna be scrambling around everybody. Oh, Leonidas is dog.
Yeah, what do you think, Huda? Did you think like dog is an appropriate name, or I know Huda's Leo said something about it being the alpha and no one else can call it dog, you know, because it's Bitcoin and stuff like that. What do you think?
I mean, it is cringe. It is, and it just might work. It's so hard to say.
Like the coin is gonna be called dog.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I thought it was just like a metaphor for what it'll eventually be called. Like, can we call it like, I don't know, whatever, Bootsy or whatever it is?
I mean, still it needs that 13 character name, right? So like dog cannot be its technical. It's not like its ticker.
That's true.
We'll refer to it as dog.
That is true. So it could be some kind of weird 13 character ticker.
I mean, I think it has to be, right? Like, I just think that is how it works. Just like Common Goods is the first one, has it 13 characters. But like, as far as I'd like to hear what you guys think of it, like its potential. I think it could work. I think I just picture we're going into a kind of like a mania. I really think it'll happen where we'll see a lot of coins that hit that. I mean, so on Solana, that's a milestone to reach, 1 or 2 billion. Like it's a major success. I wonder if on Bitcoin, then like I hate to make it sound like I've totally drunk the Kool-Aid, but I wonder if that's going to be even a little more common here at the start, because again, it is meme coins on Bitcoin. It's to me a different kind of potential, but we'll see. I don't know.
Dude, I'm with Gravity here. Dog, why don't just call it God instead? And that's it, God coin.
that'd be something
crazy. Yeah.
How long have you guys been on today? Oh wow, hour and a half. Damn.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, we sometimes get 2 hours deep with these or so. We'll end up wrapping soon, but it's just
if Stacks Protocol is launching the Nakamoto upgrade also on 420.
I'm not in tune with it, but I think so.
Like that could potentially be a workaround, right? Like if it works according to plan, 5-minute transactions and finality, and if like people are struggling to transact on like the regular Lightning channels and everything, maybe people will be like, "Oh, dude, Wrapper, go to Stacks, trade them over there."
I don't know. I'm not a big layer 2 fan, but
why is that? That's actually really important. I'd love to hear why.
Yeah.
I think just you'll see. We just wrapped an Orange Cubicle episode, and they're calling some of the tech they're building there like basically on layer 1. They're virtualizing it to be like a layer 1.5 or something, and Yeah, it's just there could be no need to go on layer 2, right? Except for like what you said there, the finality, and I do think that Stacks has the infrastructure built out to the same with like Alex and all those other projects. Alex Labs, they have some decks there and stuff. I don't know if you guys know about them, but you're going to need the finality. You're going to need the, like you said, Biggie, you're going to need that first specific actions, like probably trading. But in terms of owning assets, I'm just full on layer 1. Like there's no reason to not own layer 1 assets alone, because
for sure. But I mean, but layer 2s have done well on ETH for ETH, right? Like arguably.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
isn't
it, there's just so much transactions, right?
But doesn't it go against why people value ETH? I mean, I'm sorry, Bitcoin right now. They just, for whatever, they just want mainnet and like nothing else. It's just we want it on Bitcoin. Nothing else matters. And so you start talking layer 2s, you break the special part of Bitcoin.
Dude, you give me an eigenlayer equivalent, like restaking or like just like a solid fucking DeFi yield. It doesn't have to be crazy like Luna percentages, just enough where I feel like, okay, the contract is safe. I will fucking stake my Bitcoin into that. No problem. I'll be happy, set. I'll just chill. You know, I don't know, man.
And look at the way like Solana has done it. They've made the user experience so great. Like even Wax, which is under the radar, like you use it, there's a little bit of friction there, but you can see like I could go make like 1,000 trades in the whole day, right? So
thank you, Buxton. April 16th.
Yeah,
So
hey, that's cool. We will have a lot to talk about then on the mega show. By the way, guys, so Orange Cubicle is the show Johan was talking about. This is also a Slam Vision show, and it's fucking incredible if you're interested in Bitcoin and Ordinals. Tell you what, if you feel like you're learning stuff here, like if you actually think you're learning something here, holy shit, check out that show. Because these are some of the gigabrains and the builders, and these are the guys who have been like, man, at the cutting edge of the Bitcoin scene here for years. That's your show. So definitely subscribe over there. Follow them. I dropped their Twitter here in the comments here. Definitely follow them on X. But fantastic fucking show.
Thanks for the plug, Huda.
Of course. It's excellent. Like there's a lot to learn from there. I'll just say that.
Yeah, just as a teaser, we got Bob Bodley on the next episode, and Binari, who's both are CEOs of respective companies in the Bitcoin space. So
nice.
Should be fun.
Would you say so cool. Like that's one thing that I've picked up on a lot is like people's desire to learn about Bitcoin is unparalleled to so many other things, right? Like I notice it, like when I speak to people, right? Like you speak to Solana people, it's like, I don't care how it works. I don't know. I don't give a shit as long as my shit goes. Meme coin sell, meme coin buy. That's all I care about, right? Ethereum, a little bit like, what's the difference between an optimistic roll-up and a ZK and blah, blah, blah. Some lingo. But with Bitcoin, you're kind of, especially now with this, it's like you're kind of forced into like at least learning some fundamentals and stuff. And I do see, at least from the Ethereum community, the ones that have crossed over, like a lot of willingness. Like, I don't know, like it's something about like finally, like it's like, okay, man, we should learn our history a little bit.
Biggie, I'm telling you, there's definitely something to that, the historic part of it. And it's like, man, we've now spent all this year trading in blockchain, you know, getting involved in the tech, but do I really understand where it all came from and why? And it is a great opportunity to go back and learn it and appreciate it on a deeper level. And for some reason, I think that just encourages even like the prices we see over there. Again, that respect that comes with it and that knowledge, all of a sudden it's like, wow, what a special thing to be a part of. And again, it's just part of the story.
I have nothing but love for Bitcoin, man. Like for me, it is the first token, the first crypto, the first NFT, the first meme, all of it into one. Like that is Bitcoin to me. Like
it is
sacrosanct.
I love that point too, of Bitcoin being the first meme coin.
Spending it, you know? It's like, no, not my precious Bitcoin. But I do love seeing all of this pop up, and I know that at some point, like I'm gonna be adopting some of these things. Like Johan, I'm a big L2 proponent for BTC, but you know, I do appreciate all this rune. Would you call it what would you call it? Like I've heard it referred to as like unspent transaction protocols or something of the sort. Like they're not calling it. Yeah, UTXO, like Yeah, like protocols, right? Like it's not actually an optimistic rollup. It's not a ZK. It's very different.
I learned about this, Huda, when we were talking to Cardano. Like they were a UTXO based protocol, and I never knew what that was. And as I got into Ordinals, I was like, okay, so and using the technology, you actually learn these terms. So yeah, UTXO is just kind of like a bundle of Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin never actually comes in
comes or goes anywhere, right?
Yeah, it never actually goes anywhere except in little buckets or little unspent transactions, right? So that's what they are. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but the fees have gone up even in the last couple of days. Like,
yes,
I remember it being like 8, a few days ago, and then now, like yesterday, it hit 200, and it sucks to operate in that environment, man. Like I was been waiting like literally an entire day for a transaction.
Is that because of these BRC20s? Like, I mean, look.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have it on screen.
So
there was a few of them that were popping off, actually, not pups, but like that were actually being minted.
You just said something critical to me. That's my wall. It sucks to operate in that environment. To me, I don't think these things are going away, right? Like I do think like ordinals are here to stay. Many of these new evolutions are not going away anytime soon, but it doesn't mean that they're ever going to be a pleasant experience or costly for that.
It's a max pain environment, dude. It's like, that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
It's like,
so at some point, I mean, there is good. So in other words, you're not a maxi. You do play around with high performance blockchains and other things, right? Like I
love Wax and the Solana. Like Solana, I had a great experience there. Wax, Avalanche, like they're all great. They have their place.
Johan, do you know if runes can be trackable to the UTXO?
Technically, they are one UTXO is one rune. Right, it just matters how small, I guess, that UTXO is.
And can you separate it, or are they just like kind of one and the same? Like I don't understand the tech enough to be able to answer Buxton's question.
Honestly, I don't either. But what I heard was one UTXO, one rune. So your little bucket, there's one UTXO in there. I don't think you can split it after that. Like,
gotcha.
So yeah, it all depends on how small they can get that UTXO to be. And apparently, I've heard that. And etching a UTXO is in the way that they have, not in the witness data, but in the actual I forget what the other field is called, but is actually 4 times more than BRC20s. So
oh wow,
yeah. So while it's efficient in the way, in some ways it's kind of, you have some cons in another way too. So.
Interesting. Do you think we'll see BRC20s listed on centralized exchanges like soon? Because I see Coinbase setting up, getting ready for Ordi. It actually might be live already.
Yeah, so Ordi and Sats are already on Binance. I think Pups might be next.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Pups are something different, man.
Binance is dropping support for some of these, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, but so I read that it's kind of like a misleading thing because nobody uses their NFT marketplace anyways. Like the top 2-3 NFT marketplaces are OKX, Magic Eden, and then it really just falls off after that. Like, so no one really uses Binance. They'll still trade their NFT, like the coins, but they won't. The NFTs won't itself.
No, you know what? I think as of I don't even think BRC20s you can trade there after May 18th. I think it's all the Bitcoin assets are not tradable anymore, and they actually say that you have to move them out of your wallet.
The NFTs would, not the coins, like
not the BRC20s.
No.
Interesting. Okay.
Why would they do that? Like they make fees on that.
No, it's a good point, but that's why to me it was so shocking. I'm like, yikes.
Yeah, that's why it was like a misleading thing. It's like it's just the NFTs.
Interesting. I want to hit a few more comments here, and then I think we'll actually wrap here in a quick moment. By the way, this is the coolest visualizer for for fees. I mean, just period. Cool. Yeah, it does Ethereum too. Again, it's just super fun.
They look like little South Park characters.
Yeah, they do. I was saying the same.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Okay,
Johan, one question I would have for you is, like, personally, are you more in the RSIC camp than the runes camp? Or
RSICs are, you mean the Runestone?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like them both. Like I had some RSIC drop to me, and stupidly I paper handed them a couple of them. I still kept one or two, and then I added maybe one. But like, yeah, it's I I kind of know the story behind RSIC because I was in some discords and I knew Rock Toshi was doing it, and like he made a ton of cash from Node Monkeys and stuff too. So I wouldn't fade that one for sure. But yeah, Runestone's got all the hype going for it too as well.
They've got something special. Like my gut tells me maybe if you have to pick winners, it might be RSIC. But yeah, Runestone it's brilliant. Just the distribution that they gave it to all the people year one. All you did is win over the entire people. The entire fucking community is now rooting for you and will be talking about you. And because they did it that way, well, they got all the influencers at the same time too. So it's just,
but that
it's
also
literally the whole community.
But that also sets them up to sour the milk, right? And RSIC is in the perfect position to follow it up and say, we're not going to make the same mistakes. We're going to do it.
Yes, and I think this is also where it comes to be that this is where that idea that I think a lot of them are going to succeed in a big way. Again, I still look at those Solana meme coin numbers, and I buy into what Leonidas is putting out there. Like, we're going to see these $1-2 billion market cap coins, and I don't think it'll take long to get there.
Like I like both of them equally. I would say RSIC. They were the innovators of the pre-runes, and just the amount of brains behind that, it's like,
yeah,
you can't fade it. But
they were the first,
look
right?
At the design of it, man, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I keep thinking about flipping out. So I don't understand RSIC enough. I keep thinking about selling one runestone to get RSIC and just have increase my
spread out.
Yeah,
and risk.
But I guess with RSIC, like I think you kind of do something to mine points or runes with it. And so what I don't know is if I buy an RSIC, have I already missed out on a big chunk of supply?
So the RSIC, from what I know, the way they have spelt it out so far, it will stop mining at the halving, right? Like at that time. So yes, you're getting less and less, and which is why you've seen the price go down.
Interesting.
Right? Like it was 0.1 a few weeks ago, and now it's 0.5. Or 0.05.
Okay, so at some point they'll be worthless unless, gut feeling is that they pull exactly what Runestone is doing by saying, by the way, we got another token coming. So keep this in.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, I may flip one and get it. Just makes sense. Just this
and you want some more alpha?
Yeah.
Check out the RSIC boosts. Those
are the ones that give you more, right?
One boost per account with RSIC in there. But for some reason, and there's I think only 6,000 of them. But for some reason, they've been running. Like, look at the sales. No, why would and look at the holder count. There's 118 listed. There's 27 listed on OKX, and they've been selling like hotcakes in the last few days.
Wow.
And you can only use one per account. So like if you had 50 R6, you only need one booster.
Interesting.
Right? But
man,
they've been running, like people have been buying them. So I don't know, just a little speculation there.
God damn it, guys. I think I'm going to end up selling one runestone today.
Dude.
May not be wise short term, but long term, I think it is.
Not financial advice, Huda. I'm just saying, like, would you buy a boost which is like 10 times less than an RSIC? Maybe not. Will the boost have any utility at all post halving? I don't know.
Right.
But
I'll just say this: there's nobody. I promise you, Johan. There's nobody I've met in this space that like when I talk to them, I FOMO into something. It's you, like. Dude, without fail, when we talk NFTs and you start telling me stuff you're into, I think because there's this like authenticness with the stuff that you're into, it just comes across. I'm like, man, it makes sense. And I know this guy's good at this stuff. So when you think something and believe in it, it makes me instantly like there's no fucking barriers.
Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, I've been in there since early on, right? Like, you know me, I was in there early on. So
Yep. All right, guys. That's the show. We'll just say it like that. That's the show. I'm peeking one more time through the comments. There's a lot I did not get to, unfortunately, guys. But appreciate you guys, like always, showing up, being active, being engaged here. Like, it's a blast. I really look forward to the Saturdays and honestly, guys, now it's Sunday shows. So like Sunday shows, I had been doing the kind of packaged videos. I love doing those, but there's something different about live shows too. So Sunday, tomorrow morning, will be another live show. That'll be solo. That'll just be me. So love it or hate it, that's what you'll get. Hopefully you enjoy though, and maybe we'll get a little deeper into some of these topics. I can't shut up about the Bitcoin stuff. So, and hey, maybe by tomorrow I've got maybe a little handle on how to actually set up the node. So maybe that's something we can start getting into tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But
can I address the Attila's question before we leave?
Yeah, where's that? Hang on.
People are saying BRC20 going to be dead after runes. How do you guys feel about that? Yeah, I think we covered this on the next episode of Orange Cubicle, but I will say I think they're going to coexist for at least a while. Like there is enough that both are offering, and there's just a lot of liquidity to soak up. So
interesting. Okay, I would have been a believer that BRC20s just fade away, but no.
No, I don't. So if you look at our show, they're introducing programmability to BRC20s.
Oh, interesting.
So something that runes won't have.
Could you give an example of what you could do with that?
Yes, you can do calculations and create a smart contract-like environment on layer 1.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a big deal.
Damn.
Pay attention to the next episode of Orange Cubicle.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I'll be tuning in for sure. That's crazy. Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoy your Saturday. Is anything going on? I don't know. No sports. There's no nothing, right?
What are you talking about? UFC is 300 is coming up today.
Okay.
Wait, yes.
Today? Yeah, okay. Well, then that's a big deal. Well, if you're into that, go enjoy that. Maybe touch some grass. Maybe do some degen and prep for the halving coming here soon. Whatever you do, though, hope it's a great time. Guys, we'll catch you tomorrow.
We're the non-fungible idiots, don't you know? Banging our heads to the rhythm of the code. We don't care about dollars or the shiny blade. We're just holding to zero. It's our everything. Round tripping positions, that's how we roll. We